Becky Watts said she felt scared of being abducted 3 years before she was murdered. A report found today as it emerged a man had threatened to post intimate pictures of her online. The 16-year-old was attacked in her bedroom in a sexually motivated plot by her stepbrother Nathan Matthews, 31, after he hatched a plot to abduct her with his girlfriend Shauna Hoare, 24. Matthews and Hoare took tape, handcuffs and at least one stun gun to Becky's home in St. George, Bristol, in February 2015, and let themselves in when they knew she was alone. Becky suffered more than 40 injuries before she was smothered by Matthews, who later dismembered her body in the home he shared with Hoare. A serious case review commissioned by Bristol Safeguarding Children Board detailed how Becky had been receiving services from professionals from autumn 2011 until her murder. It made 5 key findings relating to the services provided to Becky, but concluded that her murder could not have been predicted or prevented by any professional working with her. The report found many of the professionals did not consider Matthews, Hoare and other family members with no risk from the former tar soldier towards Becky identified at any point. A significant finding appears to be fears she was at increased risk of sexual exploitation from a young man who had intimate photographs of her, and due to her vulnerable state. Despite the concerns, she was not referred to a sexual exploitation project because there was confusion about whose responsibility it was. Upon the report's publication, Becky's mother Tanya said, "The day I had Becky was one of the happiest days of my life. I still remember bringing her home to my mum's with Mum and Auntie Lyn, where Danny, Becky and myself then spent the week. Danny just wanted to help bath and feed her, and all throughout her childhood he looked out for his little sister. Becky, even from a baby, would light up for the camera, and she lit up all of our lives. Danny would always say she could make good out of a bad situation. Even throughout her own struggles she cared for others, even more than herself. Becky would love to dance as a child and loved her animals. Becky remained a happy, caring girl and kept a smile on her face throughout, even though she was carrying all of this pain upon her little shoulders. Her grace and beauty and courage astounds me, and I am so lucky and proud and honored to be able to call her my daughter. Becky was seen by 17 professionals from 8 different service providers over a 3.5-year period, with the majority of information about the teenager and her family history coming from her stepmother Anjie Galsworthy, the mother of Matthews. During one early visit to the family home, a family support worker spoke to Becky alone. Becky reported being scared about a lot of things, including going back to school and being out alone, caused, she said, by reading about abduction cases and watching horror movies, the report said. The social worker was charged with addressing these concerns, but Becky did not attend any of the planned sessions. These anxieties were addressed in part through the work with the individual support worker, but the issue of what action father, Becky's father Darren Galsworthy, and Becky's stepmother could and should have taken to limit the watching of these programs was not addressed because the parenting sessions did not happen. This meant the meaning of these films for Becky and why she watched them was never established. The lack of an initial analysis/formulation or subsequent reviewing mechanism meant that this gap was never addressed. In meetings with a clinical psychologist with Becky and her stepmother, it was noted that Becky was fearful of the outside world and had concerns about being abducted and had problems with eating. Becky disclosed that Matthews was unkindly teasing her about her weight during family therapy with her stepmother and father, but the sessions did not continue due to her eating disorder and their ill health. She was later diagnosed with anorexia, but recovered from this 13 months later. The serious case review revealed that professionals considered Becky, who said she worried that her father did not want her at home, to be at risk of sexual exploitation and homelessness. Becky disclosed that a boy had been threatening to publish explicit images of her on the internet and had worries about sexting, but said she did not want police contacted as she was frightened of repercussions. Sally Lewis, the independent chairwoman of Bristol Safeguarding Children Board, said concerns of possible sexual exploitation related to sexting and the sharing of images and not Matthews. She said that, from records at the time, the terms of accesses of Becky watching horror films was not clear. The review made 5 key findings in relation to the services provided to Becky between autumn 2011 and her murder in February 2015. It said services should be focused on an evidence-based understanding of the needs and circumstances of adolescents, to avoid them being seen as troublesome rather than troubled. There were inconsistencies within the approaches of different agencies in terms of recording, analyzing, planning, coordinating and reviewing, making joint care for children and their families less effective. Children receiving care from hospital education services sometimes require a multi-agency response, it said. Professionals should use information from different sources to prevent a limited understanding of a child or young person's needs, the report concluded. It also found that professionals are less challenging towards fathers who do not engage in child welfare practices, leaving the risks they may pose unassessed and the contribution they could make to children's lives unknown. These findings have been accepted by the Bristol Safeguarding Children Board, and much work has taken place to address them, Ms. Lewis said. Becky's mother Tanya Watts and grandmother Pat Watts told the report it was important for children and young people to be believed when they talk about their worries, and that they were not blamed for their behavior. They felt Becky had been expected to meet and engage with too many different professionals and could not build up trust to speak out. Mr. Galsworthy and Ms. Galsworthy said that in hindsight they could see that the behavior from Becky, which they found challenging to manage, was worse at times when her stepbrother was around. They said they wished they had realized the bullying she was experiencing from him at the time, so they could have intervened to keep her safe. Mr. Galsworthy said he was not included by professionals or given parenting support, so he relied on strategies such as telling Becky she would have to move out of the home if she did not manage her behavior. He said he now understood that this behavior was partly as a result of what Becky was experiencing from her stepbrother. Matthews was jailed for life and ordered to serve a minimum of 33 years in prison, while Hoare was jailed for 17 years following a 7-week trial at Bristol Crown Court in November 2015. In a statement issued after the serious case review, Becky's mother said the teenager lit up all of our lives. Becky remained a happy, caring girl and kept a smile on her face throughout, even though she was carrying all of this pain upon her little shoulders, she said. Her grace and beauty and courage astounds me, and I am so lucky and proud and honored to be able to call her my daughter.